and welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shira.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Hi.
Hi.
Uh,
Well, today, if you are watching us on YouTube, we are doing this one remotely, which we might do every once in a while. It's no big deal. No big deal.
mhm.
And then of course, when Carrie can come over, we'll do it in the studio.
It's always fun to do it in the studio and be in the presence, like in the room with you. But sometimes this is just easier because life is busy and we got shit to do
Yeah.
and things to take care of, and not to mention taking care of ourselves somewhere in all of the things.
Yeah. Speaking of taking care of ourselves, I have a birthday coming up, which
You do.
I'm like 1 year older.
Why is that such a scary thing? Like, just getting 1 year older, like, there's that
I don't
whole thing, like, where we're resistant to the aging process, and, oh god, I just remembered one of our conversations from yesterday or the day before where I was like, "What's the point? Why are you trying to prevent dying and, aging? Because you're just going for another d you're just gonna have another day of trying to prevent it."
I know, that was funny, especially because I was like, "Well, wow, that's a really good point." They keep making things for us that are actually kind of harming us and, ending our life a little sooner than we had expected, and yet, on the other end of the spectrum, there's, "I wanna live longer," and I'm like, "Well, how are you gonna live longer if you keep eating the things that are making you sick?" Like anyway,
Ooh, that's a hard truth.
hard truth, hard truth, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of the exact same thing. So, yes.
Well, and it's about balance too, right? So, not overindulging in the pleasures, but also
Mhm.
doing what's purposeful for our body, mind, and spirit, but still remembering the importance of the experience. And so,
Exactly.
learning how to balance that.
Exactly. Well, speaking of balancing, I am wagering and balancing in my head what it is that I wanna do for my birthday this year. I think, my husband, Steven, he's got some tricks up his sleeve, and, uh, every time I say that to you, though, I see that face, so I have no idea if you're involved in it, but don't tell me if you are, that's fine, we'll keep it a secret.
I've kept it a secret in the past when I was a part of it, but I will be honest, I haven't heard anything. And you are
Okay.
right. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. And I may
Oh.
even just tell you that I haven't heard anything.
Oh, snap. Okay. Okay. Nice. I see you. Well, that's understandable, that's understandable. Nobody wants to be the person that ruins a birthday surprise.
Yeah.
So, that's always
So,
fun.
what would you like to do to celebrate yourself?
Last year, I feel like I had was that last year? I feel like I had one of the best birthdays. We had a catering service come in and cater dinner. I had like the dim, romantic, calm, soothing lighting. Everyone was in casual outfits. You know, we just swam and hung out and had our cocktails, and you made the best one. And that was just such a magical night, and it was so lovely and so relaxing, and so every time I think of celebrating, because the most important aspect of that night for me was that I had my special people with me, you know what
Mm,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And I remember having that speech that I tried to say without bawling, like, the ugly crying that I felt like I was doing, but and I just kinda, like, went through the room, and it just kinda came to me in the moment that I just went through the room expressing my gratitude for those moments that I when I met you, or how our relationships built, and all of those amazing things that have been a part of my life, my special moments in my life, and so that was the most epic time for me, and I wouldn't mind repeating that. Uh,
Yeah.
I used to always do these, like, very traditional, uh, kinda traditional now this is gonna sound really weird.
Okay.
I'm just gonna throw it out there, but I used to have, dinner at Hooters every birthday. My parents would come, my friends would come, like guy friends, girlfriends, you name it. Everybody would come and we would just gather at Hooters and I loved their wings. I was like I was so like, I just wanted a mug of beer and the hot wings or the chicken wings, and that was,
Nice.
like, my happy spot, and I've always liked the casual aspects of birthdays because I guess now wow, now looking back, it's a lot like how I am today. I don't really like to put on a lot of makeup if I don't have to. I don't even like to do my hair if I don't have to be honest with you. And, like, I just wanna be in jeans and a t-shirt and some sneakers or flip-flops, and, like, that's my jam.
Yeah.
So, if I wanna celebrate me and just be me, that's where I wanna be. I wanna be in a very casual setting and nothing,
Mm.
like, overly fancy or I have to wear makeup and do my hair. That sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where I like to be. Now, that's on the staycation side, right?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna go away somewhere, just put me near the water, put me near
Mhm.
mountains and water, and I'm happy. Just don't make me climb the mountain. That's also I don't wanna do that.
Or swim in the water that you can't see.
Or swim in the
Your
water
feet
that
in.
I don't wanna be eaten by a shark. That's not the way I plan to go. So, dear higher self, do not make that my exit plan. Okay, thanks.
Not in this reality.
Not in this reality. Maybe a different one.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I can't wait to celebrate with you.
Yay.
Just love you more than the words describe. And I can't imagine living my life without you.
Agreed.
And I just think like we get so inundated with all these other like tasks to do and things to take care of and people to take care of. I just think it's such a important thing to celebrate ourselves. And it's not just ourselves, but the connections that we've made and the people that we love and that make our life colorful and joyful and exciting or relaxed, whatever
Yeah.
boat you want to float in. Um, but I just think it's something that we don't celebrate enough, this life experience.
I
And,
agree.
I wish that we had more awareness in
Mm.
all the little things too that we encounter, that we get to experience, that we celebrate them, and even the butterfly effect that
Ah,
those experiences create.
I like that. I like the use of
Yeah.
butterfly effect. I was, thinking about all of while you were saying that, all the different ways in which we celebrate, right?
Mhm.
And we pick these milestones in our lives to celebrate us when in my mind, we should be celebrating on a daily basis, you know?
Yeah.
And you've got birthdays, you've got weddings, you have coming of ages, you have, I mean, even death has a ceremony aspect to it,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and, you know, death is viewed in so many different cultures, or maybe not so many. I know that death is viewed as a negative or scary thing. Again, we're
Yeah.
trying to prevent dying or, which again, circle of life. Like
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's really promised to us in this life is that eventually we're going to transition again
Yeah.
back to the spiritual. And I understand the need for mourning and grief. However, I I don't wanna forget the incredible interactions and the incredible exchanges of love and laughter that I've had with people. And
Yeah.
so I think that when it comes to death, like, celebrating the life that that person created.
Yeah. I agree. I remember, one of the moments, during our channeling. I don't remember if this was a recorded episode
Mhm.
or if it was just with you or not, but what I was seeing in that channeling session when they were talking about death is the celebration in a different way. I remember that they showed me a scene from, one of the Black Panther movies, and everyone was dressed in white, and it was an event, a "Congratulations, you've moved on," right? And it was celebrated more like that. And I'll be honest, when long, hopefully, time from now, I go out, I don't want anyone in black. I want you all in white. I want you to remember that I'm now reunited with the light.
Yes.
And I want everyone to just joke and laugh and remember every joke I've ever told to you or a really funny moment. I know a lot of you have a lot of funny moments with me. So 'cause I'm a goofball. And like those are the things that I want to be remembered by. I don't wanna be remembered by whatever sadness brought me to that end, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
that's the that's the thing that I wanna do, and that's how I sometimes feel I wanna do for others, and you know that you're just engulfed with so many people that are, like, feeling the separation and, having those grief moments for that separation, and so it makes it really hard, so you kinda do that in little conversations in the quiet rooms of the ceremony that you're at or afterwards when, a few of you go and grab a drink and things like that, but at the same time, you're still doing it. You're still talking about funny moments and shared memories and experiences and things of that nature. I just wish it was more grandiose in the sense of, like, make it the best death party you've ever seen in your life, you know what I'm saying? It's like a birthday party on steroids.
We're gonna have a fucking parade, Shira.
Right? I mean, I want confetti, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, do
Little
you want
party poppers.
glitter? Because
Glitter.
then you'll stay in people's
Ar
lives forever.
forever. That little
We're
sparkle of light will never leave you.
we're
It'll be
gonna
on your
cremate
cheek.
you and mix you with the sparkles.
It'll be in your car. Dang it, Shira. Every time you see it.
Oh, you're gonna be in so many people's beds, like,
I'll have to explain that one later.
uh,
Oh,
but you're right, like, when I don't know, I just have this, like, point of view that I am going to be excited for my loved ones,
yeah,
knowing the experience, knowing the possible experience, right? Because I don't know the experience, so I
yeah,
had to walk those words back, but knowing that they are reuniting with Source and with all the souls that are
yeah,
not currently in physical form, and even, like, the fractal parts, right?
right.
I know I've said this before in another episode. I heard this on a TV show that I was watching that death does not separate, death unites. It's life that separates. So
Yeah,
when we think of it like that, we are maybe mourning or grieving the fact that we don't get to physically experience them anymore. And that's why I think it's so imperative that we practice connecting with those extrasensory perceptions so
yeah.
that we can work on developing new relationships with those that have passed.
Agreed. And I'm willing to bet most people would wanna lead towards a celebration of your passing.
Yeah.
And I don't say that for anyone who's experiencing something recently and you have that heartache and that grief that you're going through, which is valid. That is valid as
Yes.
F. I mean, I've lost a lot of people in my life. Trust me, I understand it's valid, but we still have the connection. It's not physical, and that's difficult when you're in the physical. It really is. But dang, dude, like you get to experience something so far beyond. You get all the questions that you've had here answered. Hey, could you just imagine that for 5 seconds? You get to experience and answer and get answers to all the questions you have in your head. What?
It's
Right.
like door number 3 is revealed, like
Right. Right. I
like, That literal veil is lifted, the curtain is drawn, everything is out in the open.
Yeah, exactly. Your thoughts really do become your reality. You just get to zip straight to it. And that was my favorite part of going into one of the channelings and them showing me when because obviously I'm gonna ask that question, right? It was like one of my first ones. And they allowed me to see things from the perspectives of almost every angle I could possibly think of. If I thought of a blade of grass, I was then looking up into the sky from the perspective of a blade of grass and what that experience was like. And so it was just very amazing to me, which is why I'm just like, "Oh my god, what a great celebration to get to go do that." We try to astral travel to do that today.
Yeah, yeah. Like, right now, using your physical eyes, you see forward, but
Mhm.
just think there's no limitation of the physical body anymore, so you can see all around
It's
at
like spinning in
once
your office chair, like, super fast
without wanting to vomit.
without the vomit sensation,
Yeah,
exactly. Without the
that
dizziness.
physical sensation of dizzy, nausea, vomiting. See? Physical isn't always better. It definitely doesn't always feel better, that's for sure.
It comes with its fair share of challenges, that is absolutely accurate. So,
Ugh,
yeah, that's that's what I wanna do. I wanna celebrate the experiences. I remember my parents, they normally ask me, this time they're going on a cruise, and that's gonna be
oh,
really fun for them. So they're not gonna be here, but they asked me, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I was like, "I actually don't want anything material. I have been granted this beautiful life to, I mean, granted, I worked my butt off to get here, but I have everything I need.
mhm.
And what I want is quality time with the people that I love. That's what I
Isn't
would
that
want."
so funny? Like, you
Yeah.
remember as kids hearing that from our parents, "I just wanna spend time with you,"
I
and we'd be
know.
like, "Ugh, like, just tell me what to get you." And now it's like the roles have reversed a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's what makes me laugh even more is that I've never been a birthday card person.
Mm,
I'd rather hear it out of your mouth than written on a piece of paper. I've never been a birthday card person. I think they're really funny or they sing something stupid, and that
mhm.
brings me a little joy. But, like, other than that, I'm like, I will see this for approximately 1 week while it sits on my counter, and then it's going in a box for somebody to find probably well after I'm gone.
Yeah, I have a I have some boxes of those too.
I'm like, "Please stop cutting down trees for this." Okay, so I don't want a card. If you like cards, sorry. Don't feel bad.
Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, it's okay.
Right. Thank you. Just say it.
Yeah,
Just say it.
I was just thinking about this last birthday that I had, and how I got to celebrate by meeting new people that were in the spiritual community too,
Yeah.
and build those relationships when we went to the retreat together.
That was fun.
And it was such a wonderful time because it was doing like the spiritual work, but it was relaxing and it was connecting and there was laughter and I felt 100% cared for,
Yeah.
like, didn't have to clean up after myself, that was great, like
Right? The best.
So, I I I can't wait to celebrate you. Whatever you do, I hope that I get to be a part of some celebrations.
Absolutely. Of course. My favorite part of your birthday, though, was, trying to keep you from turning around because you had your back to the chef who was, like, making all the slices
Of the
with, like, putting
dessert,
them of the dessert and putting it on the plate, and, someone was sitting next to you, and I was like and she's like, "Oh, look," and I was like, "No, no, no, no."
she
Over here.
mentioned a dessert, like, "Oh, looks like we're gonna have dessert tonight." I was like, "Oh, that's exciting." And and then I was like, "Da, da, da, eat my food."
I was, like, just staring at you intensely, like, "Don't turn around."
And isn't it funny because the rest of the time, I sat on the opposite side of the table where I would have been facing the kitchen. So I just happened to choose a different seat
Thank
where
goodness.
I was facing the window.
Thank goodness. My gosh. Yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun. And a huge thank you to
Mhm.
Alexa and Ambrosia. They're with Interbloom Podcast. They really helped and they coordinated and made sure that
Yeah.
they got you that cake. So that was super cool.
They were amazing. They are
Yeah,
amazing. Just super grateful that we got to attend that Inner Bloom retreat that they hosted, yes.
that's
And
very true.
super grateful that each of the individuals that attended were there.
Yeah, oh my gosh. We love you ladies. Seriously.
Ladies, hi.
Bond for life. Bond for life. I know, and we might get to go on another retreat with them. So,
I'm looking forward to that.
that's gonna be cool. That's honestly, like, that's a pretty badass way of celebrating life, to be honest with you. One of the most transformative experiences that I've ever had, and, like, I had no idea that any of that was possible, to be honest
Mhm,
with you.
mhm,
So, if y'all are interested in doing something like that, my goodness, sign up, take a
mhm.
chance.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So earlier you had mentioned that you think we should be celebrating life on a daily basis. So
Mm.
what are some ways that we can incorporate those small celebrations?
You know, this is fun. This is a fun little one. So, in the mornings, I have a little ritual that I like to do to help me because I'm kind of not a morning person, to just be honest. And I shouldn't sell myself that because you know what? I'm creating that reality. However, digressing. I like to do these little moments of celebration with my dog Webster in the morning where I let him jump up on the bed because normally he doesn't sleep on the bed anymore. But like I let him jump on the bed and we do this thing where he digs his head down and I like rub his head and then he like wags his tail. And the more I laugh, the more excited he gets.
Aw.
And it is a fun little practice. And then usually my husband lets him out, he comes back in and he brings me a cup of coffee and gives me a morning kiss. And that in this small way is a celebration of you're awake, you're going to go about your day, right? When I get to work in the mornings, I take a minute and I just sit in my car, I look up at the sky, I say thank you. I made it here and I'm good and I'm alive. And I take my deep breaths in, right? I take my
Mhm,
minimum 3 deep breaths in, and I'm usually listening to a good podcast. That's what my I do on my drives in, and I remind myself of all the reasons that I came here. I came here to experience. I came here to grow. I came here to learn,
mm,
and I came here to share and build a foundation of love that's ever expanding, right? And so I try to remind myself of that. And when I'm doing that, I'm able to put a smile on my face. And even if that smile doesn't last the whole freaking day, even if something derails me from that moment, as long as I remember on a daily basis to bring myself back to that point, I know I'm going to be all right, you know?
mm, mhm.
And so for me that's my small, if you want to call it small, like celebrations of life on a daily
Yeah,
basis. Now
yeah.
there's alternative ways, right? You can do something cool like take a shower, do your meditation in the shower. Maybe if you have a bathtub, fill it up with some bubbles and grab a rubber ducky from Walmart and have a fun time like you were a child. Celebrate that. You're an adult and you could do that in your own bathtub. No one
I
has to
love
do
it.
you know
No
what
one has
I'm
to know.
saying? No one has to know.
I definitely like this idea of right when you wake up and I get that my current pattern there's resistance to waking up. And so taking like 5 to 30 seconds to just express gratitude first thing in the morning because you're right, we are not promised any specific days or time on this planet in this physical form. So, seeing the magic in waking up to a new day
Yeah.
and celebrating that by being grateful that you're breathing, that
Yeah.
you're seeing, that you're moving. Um, one of the things that I like to do on my way into work is I stop by a park most mornings. And I do a couple different things depending on how much time I have or how I'm feeling, what I'm needing in that day, in that moment. And I will take my grabber that I got off of Amazon and go pick up trash. And as I'm doing that, I am expressing love and care and compassion for nature and Mother Earth, and I feel that that for me is connected to celebrating life because I'm giving back to Mother Earth for all the gifts that she's giving me.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
or, other mornings, I will sit and meditate. I've done walking meditations, again, just observing and appreciating the different, leaves or different types of trees, different, foliage, looking at the turtles in the water.
Turtles are the best.
And then the other thing that I'll do is journal. So, in that journaling, it can be an expression of whatever I'm feeling in that moment. But I do try to circle back to gratitude in those entries. And don't get me wrong, I'm not always joyful. I'm not always grateful. I'm not always positive. But when I'm experiencing something that's difficult, maybe to navigate, I know that there is a greater purpose behind that, and that is growth. And I am grateful for those opportunities to grow and learn. And I've even done that as like a self-reflection thing. And that's another celebration of life when we self-reflect on where we've been and where we've come, like how far we've come, the path that we've taken to get there, all the little nudges and interactions and, just whispers that we get, whether that's from guides, loved ones, nature, our higher self. Like those are all beautiful connections and interactions that I am grateful for. And so taking a moment to just appreciate is a celebration to me.
I
And
love
even like,
that.
you know,
Yeah,
when I sit down to dinner, taking just a brief moment to say thank you to my food for its journey and it being on my plate and it nourishing my body. Same thing with water.
oh, you've got some good food and water vibrations happening there. That's
I love
awesome.
me some food.
Okay, I'll admit it. If I wanted to have it my way on a birthday, that would definitely have really good cuisine, so
Yeah. And you did. You
I
did.
did,
You
yeah.
got it catered.
That was the best. My husband's a really, really good cook, and honestly, he is the chef in this family, and so I was like, "I don't want you to cook. I don't want you to worry about anything. I want you to clean dishes. I want you to hang out with us, be
A
present."
part of it.
Right,
Mhm. Yes.
exactly. So, yeah. So, maybe we just make it a new tradition. We'll find a new chef and we'll eat something different, or maybe we'll use the same one because that one was really good
They were
and
amazing.
absolutely amazing. Matter of fact, I want to help promote them. They're a young Black family here locally in Austin, Texas, and I love to support local. So, you know what? I'll link them below.
What was the name? Do you remember?
I do not, so I will find
Okay.
that link.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was a year ago.
Yeah, oh, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Fair.
Fair enough.
Well, today, guys, we're going to skip the card reading because, again, we are in separate places, and that makes it a little bit more difficult for the camera angles. Because
Yeah.
we've moved everything into the studio,
Yep, we did. I was like, all
and
those extra cameras are in there.
and so we are not in the studio today. So we're nixing that, and we're going to take this opportunity and go celebrate. So
Yay.
let's get on out of here, guys. Take some time, celebrate life, find little ways to celebrate each little moment. And, we are, I am resistant to using this word,
Uh-oh.
but we are blessed.
We are. We really
Mhm.
are. Speaking of being blessed, we're blessed for all of you beautiful listeners
Mhm.
and all of the gratitude that we've seen, the likes, the subscribes, the hitting notification bells. So it's really cool. So thank you for that. Honestly, we could not be more grateful that you guys are enjoying what we're putting
Mhm.
out. And I hope, and every time, I love that word hope, that it's actually helping. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things, we also do have social media at Love Always Self. And we're on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. TikTok's growing. That thing surprised me today.
Oh, that's cool.
I know. When we do collective card readings, we have a website in which you can find all those tarot decks and oracle decks. So that's on lovealwaysself.com. Shameless plug. I gotta do it.
I'm such a child because you said doo-doo.
It really doo-doos. So, not this podcast, Anywho.
Thank you guys so much for being here. And again, really appreciate you keep coming back and the growth that we're seeing. We are kind of in awe that we've been able to touch so many lives. So thank you for that. And on that note, don't forget to love first
Love last.
and love always. Bye, y'all.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista,
And I'm Shira.
and until next time, remember to love first
Love last.
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.